going on, everybody? Welcome to the View from Jamestown Podcast Edition. This is episode 40. This is the May 2020 edition, and we're sitting down with TCC President Robb Roach, VP Sales and Marketing Cory Mullins, and VP Sales and Marketing Petrarca. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Ben.
Happy May, albeit a gloomy start to May here, it looks like.
Happy Friday, too. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Sir, yes, sir.
This is episode 40. We're in the fours, so that's kind of a cool milestone. We're almost at the big 5-0. But yeah, happy May. Hopefully we're getting close to the end of the rain here. I don't know about down in Texas, but I know rain has been the norm with a few sunny days mixed in. So we're looking forward to getting out of this lull and getting into the full swing of summertime here. How's the weather down there, Mullins?
You know what? It's beautiful this morning. It's already started to get pretty warm. We've been in the high 80s on certain days, and then we've had some thunderstorms roll through that kind of cool things down. A couple of tornado watches, typical this time of year. But no, it's nice right now. 65, sunny skies, no winds blowing. It's nice. Windows are open. It's nice.
I was texting Robb yesterday. It's supposed to be like 65 and sunny this weekend. That's like a high. I'm excited for that. And that's like the norm for you guys.
Pretty crazy.
But yeah, so it's May. We're still, if anyone's watching the video version, you can see we're all still on GoToMeeting, still working from home with our physical offices here closed down. Seems like some positive news starting to trickle in about some potential cures, and the curve starting to flatten a little bit, which is exciting to see. And we're excited to start putting plans into motion to get the office back up and running. But as anyone that's watching can see, we are still working from home, 100% operational, but still all remote. Miss seeing you guys in person. It's weird. I'm very used to seeing you guys on screen now, ready to get back to some in-person meetings and get back to the office.
We built that whole podcast room for what?
Yeah. We're gonna be back in maybe in June with masks on for the podcast.
We'll just build little plexiglass enclosures for each one of us, and we'll sit next to each other, just enclosed.
Be little boxes like that. What was that Whoopi Goldberg show that had everyone like in their own little cubes? But yeah, still dealing with the coronavirus. Logistics challenges, maybe some promising cures coming out. Still dealing with vessel delays, so seeing it from all different fronts with demand being down and logistics challenges. But what's kind of the update on what's happening with as we come into May here? Seems like it's been status quo. I mean, there's not much updates.
I don't know, man. I don't know where we're going.
I've stopped making predictions because I continue to be wrong. So I'm just going with the flow.
I wait for the price announcements to come out, and then I predict what those price announcements are going to be. That's been pretty successful so far.
A lot of ocean vessel sailings getting canceled. We saw from our logistics guys this week and some other reports that we get. There's definitely going to be a shortage of ISOs for any bulk liquid moves. But it's kind of been the norm. I mean, nothing's still challenging. Not much is changing. Starting to see some positive news. Hopefully, some of this starting to break. But overall, it's kind of just been status quo. It's just the world we're living in, and hope things will start to open up safely sometime soon, so we can get back to some sort of normal.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Ben. I think we've seen more and more in our personal lives. We've seen broken supply chains. Right now, currently, it's meat. With the meat packing industry getting hit hard with coronavirus. Our supermarkets here have had a run on meat, and there's not much meat available. We saw it prior on things like toilet paper, paper towels, general, hoarding of items as we all went into quarantine. So I think that, it's very concerning when you see the chemical manufacturing index and you see it drop below where it was after World War II. It's the lowest it's ever been. So, chemical manufacturing chemical manufacturing depends on robust GDP worldwide. And they actually build plants for growth in GDP. GDP has come to a grinding halt. And these plants run continuously, most of them. So what does that mean? It means shutdowns. It means rationalization. It means lack of availability. It means broken supply chains. Just to keep it in mind, we saw that after 2008, where oil went to $120 a barrel, and there was basically no product available. What was available cost a fortune. And we've seen the CMI go well below what happened after '08. So everybody should be very concerned about their supply, and local supply is becoming more and more something that people have to consider. And I think this is where TCC is of value, because we do keep product available in our warehouses, our short tanks, our rail cars. We do a good job of keeping product available for our customers. So, but it is very concerning to see what we have going forward. I mean, with Cory, with methanol, I mean, they got to start shutting plants down. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Things like oxo alcohols, acids, et cetera. I mean, not only is the coronavirus coming into plants and affecting them and having short-term shutdowns to clean and sanitize, but we're seeing, what's going to happen is we're going to have larger issues here with, lack of demand and therefore shutting of plants. So it's good to stay in touch with us and your other vendors and find out where your supply chain is coming from. And, that's what we're seeing coming down the pike.
And Rob, on the flip side of that, and we were talking internally here on some emails with some of our colleagues that you guys read this, I'm sure, but on the supply chain point, we're seeing a lot of producers managing their cash by reducing inventories, right? So when this thing does bounce back, and it will, it'll be interesting to see, the impact of those low inventories when demand starts to return. There could be some significant shortages in certain raw materials. That'll be, that's something I think to watch out for.
Yeah, even prior to the coronavirus and the pandemic, we were already seeing a lot of excess capacities, and we were already seeing that there's going to be some rationalization before this global pandemic, and this is just going to accelerate that. And that's a great point, Cory. I mean, people have been, sucked up in mergers and acquired, and they've been told to keep inventories low and keep cash rich. And, whether it's a consumer or a producer, inventories are low. So when we do get out of this, there is going to be that robust demand kicking back in. And, there has been some somewhat positive assumptions on certain medications and a potential September. Oxford University is saying a potential available vaccination. So, hopefully these are all true, and we will be back to a normal life. But when that happens, there's going to be some broken supply chains.
Yeah, and AJ, you manage a bunch of products that have some agricultural, applications, some pulp and paper applications, urea, dicyandiamide. What does demand look like for those products here in the last few months, and then coming into full spring and summertime here? Has demand been a little bit less, a little bit more? What are you seeing with some of those?
The fertilizer demand season started off kind of steady, Eddie. The last week or so, we saw a little bit of decline. A couple people were pushing out orders, based on kind of reduced demand. So it seems to have started off good, and now it's softening a little bit, specifically on the ag side. On the paper side, that seems to be kind of steady, Eddie. I haven't noticed much of a change on that at all. The big change in that came when the tariffs hit, because a lot of that type of paper would be exported to China, and that stopped because of the tariffs. But since then, it's been flat.
Yeah, and Rob mentioned oil a little bit earlier too, and it's if you look at the price today as the price when we did the April podcast, it's the same. But obviously in the middle of the month we had crude go below zero for the first time I think ever, right? So that was an interesting week or two trying to figure out what that meant, and how to analyze that and what that means for the next few months.
Yeah, that was a wild ride, no doubt about it. For those of us that track oil every single day, it was very interesting to see, and concerning at the same time. I mean, this is going to have a major impact on Cory's backyard. I mean, there's millions and millions and millions of Americans that depend on that industry for their living. So right now you're seeing restaurants shut, retail shut, oil demand. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So, all of this is hyper concerning for us and for everyone. Obviously, that's why they're doing as much as they can with the, giving individual checks to individuals and the PPP and the bailouts and all this sort of stuff. But I mean, long term, what if we keep printing money the way we are? I just don't know how that's going to have an ultimate effect on the overall economy and of the world. Just this pandemic is just showing how small of a world we live in.
I think one kind of positive note, I know I've seen a couple articles starting to come out, and not just chemical industry ISIS ads and stuff like that. The Wall Street Journal and some big publications talking about the chemical industry and how a lot of different companies and manufacturers have kind of banded together and are almost leading this fight against the coronavirus, which I think is a positive thing. I mean, whether it's companies donating, tens of tank trucks of sanitizing products to be able to provide the hospitals, all the way down to, companies starting to drum or tote IPA for, individual companies that, needed to sanitize their plants to get workers back to work. I mean, you see all kinds of stories like this of the chemical industry, really leading the fight against it. And, plastics industry and things like that, fighting and building supplies with hospitals to be able to provide, protective equipment and plexiglass to, have aid in sanitization, and all these different stories about, the plastics industry and the chemical industry really leading the fight to try to stop the spread of it and aid in sanitizing and all that stuff has, I think, been a little bit of a positive note. And, kind of the way everyone's, like you said, with the world being so small, kind of banding together and really trying to fight the pandemic going on.
I thought it was interesting in the stores, when this started to surface and things were moving off the shelves, I thought a lot of the organic stuff staying put and a lot of the chemical-based products were moving a lot quicker, and I don't have anything against the organic or anything, but you're right. The chemical industry does have a valuable place in this, and I think it has been a positive for us for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's amazing to see that chemistry and polymers are so important in the fight against this pandemic, and people somewhat appreciating that. I mean, even toilet paper and paper towels are a chemical process. A lot of chemistry is used to make those things, and the history of chemistry is for the common person might hear chemicals and they think bad because of the history that's there with it dumping in rivers and bays and things like that, and smog in the air. But the fact is that most global chemical producers have taken a track towards sustainability, and that track is having a great value to the world, because there is no longer that idea that we can pollute and waste and have it last forever. So they've actually been at the forefront of sustainability, and it has been very nice to see the chemical industry step up with like you said, the sanitization products, making them available, researching what can be done for better sanitization, and even going to the pharmaceutical level. I mean, chemistry is a big part of medicines. We're big in the pharmaceutical industry. Medicines, vaccinations all depend on chemistry. So, it's a good point. Thanks for bringing it up, Ben.
Yeah, even right in our backyard, we've got Honeywell, which is one of the main manufacturers of the N95 masks and other surgical masks, ramping up production. That's a major, chemical reaction, and is, I don't know if it's considered a paper, product or what that process actually is, but obviously that can't happen without raw materials being processed and production lines ramping up to be able to increase their demand. I think I saw on average we produce like 30 million masks a month, and during the pandemic we need like 130 million, so the demand is at 5 times what's actually being produced. So it's cool seeing companies like Honeywell, especially for us being in Rhode Island, right in our backyard, ramping up to try to help out. But moving on, price updates and trends. As mentioned, crude obviously took a big dip, but it's kind of back to where it was this time in April when we were on the podcast. A lot of stuff seems to be flat, maybe a little bit up, but if anything, kind of marginal, with natural gas moving up a little bit, Brent moving up a little bit, but still at pretty low levels, compared to where we were 4, 6, 8 months ago.
Yeah, we've seen the effects on things like benzene is down. Settled for May at 95 cents a gallon, so that's down from $1.25 a gallon. Orthoxylene way down. It's catching up. In some some cases it's having an effect on chemical prices, but going back to our earlier conversation of supply chains being broken, it's having less of a immediate effect on that, as people are thankful just to be supplied. And you know, we've had some very aggressive phone calls and emails with people that are looking for immediate savings. I think that's dangerous right now, Ben. Those people that are demanding immediate savings and longer terms. A company like ours, if you're asking for egregious terms, we're going to walk away. If you're asking for prices below what's sustainable for us to operate, we're going to walk away, and then you might be left without anything. So you know, my father always talks about how, you know, there's times that you have to be the good guy when things are short, and you got to get product out to your good customers and keep them supplied. And then, you know, there's times where you have to just walk away from these very aggressive purchasing people that are under pressure because their business isn't doing well and they're trying to take it out of your skin and your company. And I think we're at that position right now where there's some people that have been very aggressive with us, asking for ridiculous terms, ridiculous prices, immediate savings. And, you know, when we can't meet it, we walk away. Again, going back to supply chains, it really might hurt them, you know?
Yeah, something to keep an eye on. Absolutely. You know, we're still very much in the middle of this whole pandemic, so we'll see what continues happening with crude and with all the different raw materials. You know, over the next couple months and into the summertime, should be interesting to see if and what happens. You know, ongoing. Featured products, new products for us. I know the biggest thing we're working on is our new sanitization product line. I'm happy to be able to offer IPA, glycerin, ethanol, different products, everyone on this screen and more. You know, I've played a role in getting this product line set up so we can offer it to existing customers, new customers, you know, companies that historically, you know, need 1 drum IPA, 4 drums IPA in a very tight marketplace. You know, we're proud to offer that product line and happy to talk about it with anyone out there looking for a product, especially as plants get back up and running and companies are taking a close eye on keeping their employees safe as they start to reopen their businesses.
Yeah, these products are going to become more and more important as the governments or the state level government decides to open up. I mean, you think about it, you're going to have to sanitize after every client. If you're getting a pedicure, manicure, haircut, you're in a dentist chair, you know, every single time that someone comes and exposes themselves to an area, you're going to have to sanitize that area. So we're trying our best to create a more robust line. You know, we do have things like you said, IPA, glycerin, hydrogen peroxide, ethyl alcohol, D-limonene, you know, these different products that go into sanitization, and we're getting them out there as much as we can because we are looking at opening up. You know, some states haven't been as affected as we have here in the Northeast. The concentration of humans in New York City and Boston, Chicago, LA has been very evident in this whole fight against the coronavirus. And, you know, when people are close to each other, it's just so hyper. You can catch it by getting minimal exposure. So sanitization will be key to opening these states for people to not get sick.
Yeah, even in the wintertime, like just the basic, you know, flu that comes out every year. I mean, even that's going to be something that's people are going to be more cautious of, more, you know, maybe even every winter people start wearing masks to protect from the flu and spend more time sanitizing and looking at that. I mean, it could change, you know, the flu season or the cold season, you know, forever, with people being more careful about it.
Yeah, and we read something the other day. The sanitizer market is 15 times what it was before this all hit. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, when it comes to the masks, you're basically just showing respect to the people around you when you're wearing a mask, and so it's not really self-preservation or protecting yourself. It's you don't know. They're talking. You know, we had a conference call with our office this meeting, and one of our employees has a nephew that's had 30 days of positive tests, no symptoms. You know, he could be out there spreading it without any knowledge of the fact that he has it. And, you know, testing is also key. I don't really want to get too sidetracked, but I just think that it's very important that people take the precaution of wearing a mask and gloves when they're out and about to hopefully lower the exposure rate and bring the curve down.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's only so much sanitizer that we all can produce. 15x, that's a lot, Cory. I mean, that's massive.
It's been interesting to see, distilleries and these companies that have these capabilities that is essentially a similar process as producing something like, sanitizer. You go from producing whiskey to producing sanitizer. All of a sudden the sanitizer market's more important than the whiskey market. Cory might disagree, but
wait. It's getting closer. It's getting closer.
Typically, this is when we talk about trade shows, events, conferences. Not much to report on that front. EPCA in October did get canceled, so that's probably one of the furthest out ones we saw. It seems like stuff pretty much through June at this point has been postponed or canceled. Some big shows that we like to participate in July and August are on at this point, but who knows what's going to happen. I know that the Chem and Agro show in South Carolina is always a good one for us, AJ, that we're always down at. Hopefully that one goes on as planned, because that's always a good one.
It's going to be tough. It's supposed to be July this year, right? So we're going to be, I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll see. Have they made any announcements? I haven't seen anything about that.
No, not that I've seen. I mean, and there's kind of two pieces to it too. The show could go on, but if companies aren't letting employees travel to the show, you're going to have a bunch of people standing at trade show booths, just no one walking around. So it's kind of twofold thing. Whether or not the show goes on is one thing, and then whether or not people go is a whole separate thing. So, I mean, interesting time for trade shows in the next 6 to 12 months.
You got turkeys out there?
Yeah, what's going on, Ben?
I had a lone hen come by. I had a lone hen come by mine earlier. I don't know if you saw me scrambling for my phone, but I had turkeys in my front yard, or a turkey in my front yard.
Turkey season. There's no shortage of meat here.
Yeah, we've been getting every day. It's got to be at least 3 to 5 turkeys walking through. But yeah, I mean, wrapping things up, that's kind of the update. There's not a whole lot to report on or change. It's kind of status quo as we deal with the pandemic. Hopefully have some more positive news with the curve flattening and on the decrease here come the June episode. Who knows, maybe we'll even all be back together again. Best case scenario, maybe a little too soon, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, that kind of wraps things up, unless there's anything else I'm missing here.
We're staying optimistic, Ben. Every day, we get up, we know our family is well and safe, and we check on our extended family. There's been a lot of benefits that have come out of this pandemic, and more family time, and nobody's murdered each other yet. But no, we're very lucky that that we're here today together. I look forward to seeing you all in person. But as the states open up, it doesn't mean that the virus has gone away. It's still there. One of our folks this morning brought up a point that they want to open up the states so they can get an idea where the cluster of the viruses are, a better idea of where, so it doesn't mean it's going to go away. It's not summer heat, summer humidity isn't going to kill the virus. It's still there. So I just think that people should maintain a high level of caution for themselves, and also for those that are at risk here, and be be vigilant. You don't have to believe what you hear on TV. You have to look around and be respectful to your community, not spread this disease, and do the best you can if you do go out to protect others.
I think it's safe to say that it seems like the world at this point is all on the same page with wearing masks and gloves, and just like you said, being respectful of everyone else, trying to contain this and all get through it kind of together.
Yeah.
I think we will too. I think we will. I know we will, and it's going to be a bright future once we figure it all out.
I agree.
Absolutely. Well, as always, I appreciate your guys' time this morning. Good to see y'all virtually and talk to you. Thank you again to the Kettle Bottom Creative guys for the production, the editing, the recording of this. Guys in the background here that you guys don't see, but really the true heroes and the guys putting the magic behind the podcast. So thank you guys. Thank you guys all for sitting down this morning. Look forward to seeing y'all again in person, hopefully very soon. And we'll catch you next time.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Bye, everybody.